So you don't do research because they say I need 10 papers to become professor. That's not the issue. You do research because that is your duty. That's your primary duty. So you don't do research because they said if I do research they are going to give me money. That's not the reason for research. The first reason that pull you out, that makes you continue research, is intrinsic inside you. There's an intrinsic motivation that drives you on within you and makes you to sit down when nobody sees you. Like when you are doing research, you do it inside. You are not doing it outside. Inside where no one sees. But outside where you will do what? You will receive the reward openly. So going forward, like this is something that in our current situation in the country, like research is not something that is fully given attention. And it's also not like, I mean, you don't essentially look at, if you look at debt funds, you look at other provision for research in Nigeria, the highest debt fund gives is not even up to, maybe it's around 10 million for each person at their biggest grants, because the money is not enough. So doing research in Nigeria may be challenging, but I want to tell you that you don't also do research because the situation is good. People that started research, the motivation was to solve problems because there was problem. There was problem to solve. That was what pushed them to do research. It was not because things are already good. So they had intention, the passion to solve problems in the environment. That was what pushed them to do research. And because of doing the research, they had discoveries. From the discovery, they became renowned. From the being renowned, they became people who won Nobel Prizes. So most of the time, research results or outcome comes out of a problem that people discover and they want to provide solution. Take for instance, I was talking about the lady that discovered this artemisinin tablet for a drug for malaria. We have artemisia in Nigeria, the same leaf, the same tree in Nigeria. It's many. From this to Ekiti State, go to inside their forest, you find artemisia tree. And in other parts of Nigeria, we have it plenty, but nobody has seen until the woman also rose up and did it, and she won a Nobel Prize for providing a solution for malaria at that level. So, and like I tell people that one thing that can put you in the mind of people for life, that you solve problems. Imagine the guy that provided the solution to smallpox. The vaccination for smallpox. What's his name? Edward Jenner. He was the one that provided. Today, you remember him. Everyone remember him. He made a remark in his lifetime because of research. So I want to challenge us. Now, some of us young people in Nigeria, we are already retiring. We are feeling that, I don't think there's money here. Is that I think the first thing is not about, first of all, about money. It's about solution, providing solution. You may face challenges, but I think it's the way out. If we don't do it, a lot of things will be, we are going to be in a lot of trouble, and so many things will not find solution for. Now, research, I need to reiterate this place because this is the background information. It's a systematic investigation into a subject with the aim of discovering new facts, interpreting existing information, or developing new theories or applications. So, what do? Now, research is a process. It's not something that you just now, paper publication is just an outcome. You understand? So research is a continuous thing. It's a continuous thing, and it's ordered, systematic in the sense that it's ordered investigation into a particular subject or an area, right? With the aim of discovering new facts. So the aim is to get, you are investigating into a particular area or a subject with an aim to discover a novel or a novel result, a novel outcome, a new theory, or a new way of thinking, a new way of answering a particular question, a new way of bringing out and doing a particular thing. Now, also interpreting existing information. It could also be that there are existing work or existing idea or data that you want to test. You want to test, you want to validate, you want to establish further. Like some of the things you do in malaria modeling or infectious disease modeling, you find out that sometimes we are using existing models, but the major thing there is that we are using the existing model to answer questions in different questions in malaria space or in infectious disease space. So it may also be something like that. Or you want to develop new theories or new methods. Maybe you are developing a new method to solve a particular problem, and the method you are bringing up seems to be maybe better or faster, or is doing much better in terms of timing, in terms of efficiency, in terms of cost. So our applications, you want to develop new apps so that a lot of people can benefit and use certain apps to solve certain problems in their community. Like in the recent time, we are facing challenges with diagnostic tools where people can easily test. They don't need to go far. If they are in the villages, they want to test for malaria, they don't need to travel long distance. And you can have an app where somebody can get tested, and immediately you can discover whether he has a particular disease or not, and then you can go for medical, for treatments protocol. So now it involves a careful, can you read the word careful? Careful methodical approach. Careful in the sense that you don't do it anyhow. Now a lot of time we do research because you want to publish a paper. You said there is promotion next month. Let me quickly pack up something together. Or you said my PhD or my master's, I need 2 papers. I need 3 papers. You quickly gather some things and then you put them together. You are not careful about your arrangements, what you are putting together. You are only careful that you want to publish. That's not research. So it involves careful and methodical approach. Now, why do I say methodical? There is always a standard. There are certain standards that if I am doing a research that you must follow. If you don't follow such standard, take for instance, you are dealing with clinical work or clinical trials. The first thing they expect you to do is to have ethical approval. You want to use some human subject or animal, you didn't take ethical approval. From the word go, in fact, if you are going to publish the paper, that's the first thing they will ask. If you don't do that, that paper is not going anywhere. So you cannot do anything just anyhow. It has to follow an order, certain order. So there are principles. Most times people want results, but they don't want to follow the principles of doing things, and then you don't get the actual result eventually. So methodical approach to collecting, organizing, analyzing information to increase understanding. So you want our understanding about that subject to be increased yes. So you need to follow, you want to add to the arsenal of knowledge on ground. You need to follow the way it is being done. So research can be conducted for diverse purposes across various disciplines, from expanding fundamental knowledge to solving practical problems. So this has to do with theoretical approach. Now the first one is theoretical aspect in terms of you want to expand fundamental knowledge, like basic research. When I mean basic research, you are dealing with something that you want to, you have some new methods that you want to push up to enhance the basic research. And then The other one may be applied to solving practical problems, applied research, which is our focus here maybe. So you are can use some of the fundamental knowledge to even enhance our practical application that we will be solving practical problems there. So research is an important part of a country's development. However, it costs a lot of money, and many people feel that developing countries like Nigeria cannot afford to fund research, while there are real problems which require urgent attention and money. So we have discussed this over and over again, and this is a very big issue. Now, in most developed worlds, we find out that they put a lot of money on research. In fact, you have different kind of foundations. You have different kind. You have the Simmons Foundation. You have the International Mathematical Union. You have Carnegie. Different kind of foundations. Slum and a lot of them like that. That people go forth, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is also there, and quite a large number of World Health Organization, World Bank, and all of that. I mean, they provide money to carry out research. UNICEF, United Nations, So why do you think some of these countries now? Because development is a function of research. Any country's development is a function of the level of research. Any development you see in the Western world is based on research. They depend so much on research. And that's why now there is progress. Some of the things we are still struggling with, they have already left it behind. Because they are very, very creative. They are doing new stuff every day, thinking every day, providing solutions to problems every day. Research is a normal thing, that kind of environment. So now in our own country, a developing country like Nigeria, we have a lot of challenges. Going from governance, there's challenges with governance in terms of what do they prioritize. What do they prioritize? Now in our government, we prioritize other things much more than research. We prioritize money, we prioritize political position, thuggery, and all of that much more than research. And that is why, when there is problem in-house, where do we go? We rush out. When there is need for health, government need to get good health for themselves or for their family, they go on tourism, health tourism. They go out there to get good health. For treatment, So because they feel that the environment is much more developed in terms of health infrastructure and systems and all that. So, but we also forget that now, during COVID, everybody found out. I think they have not bought the sense yet. You cannot go anywhere. Everybody stayed at home. You can't even go and take treatment abroad. So at that time, they tried to work on some of the hospitals a bit to be able to take care of them. But eventually, after COVID left, we went back to the same thing. So I think, if we are not going to embrace research because of these conditions, because they felt it costs a lot of money, and then many people feel that developing countries like Nigeria cannot afford to fund research, while there are real problems. Now, they don't know that those real problems can be attended to by research. Now, how did I know that? There was a time ASU was asking the government to fund education, like higher education in Nigeria. I think it was using Abacha's time. And then the government said they don't have money. But I also said, we have an idea. We don't have money, but we have an idea for you. Okay, share us the idea, write a proposal. Give them the proposal. And the proposal said that every organization, both private and public in Nigeria, to give to education at least either 5 or 10% of what comes into them every year. And then the government test run it. So they told the government that if they run it for 1 or 2 or 3 years and it does more, they should close it. So when the government ran it for 1 year, that they were collecting, it's 1%. So they were collecting it from all the organizations. And the government saw the money. That was when they now put their own too. Everybody now began to pot from somebody's idea. So which means that if the government will allow research to come in, look at that small idea. If the government allows research, a lot of problems can be solved. And they may not even need to spend money on. They allow researchers to breathe in Nigeria. So when we do research, we can advance our knowledge about a specific discipline or subject. So research makes you to be progressive and you are updated and you are relevant. So it means that if you are a student and you are doing research, you are going to be current. And if you are a professor, you are a lecturer, you continue research, you are going to be current. You are going to be updated. You are going to know the new trend of things in your field, the subjects you are working on. Now we can solve particular societal problems doing research. That's very true. Now research has gone, especially in the 20th century, it has gone beyond just saying I'm writing a paper that nobody will use. Now research can be used to solve practical societal problems in our day-to-day life. We have seen people that have engaged in, they just saw a particular problem in an environment, maybe like waste, the way people were disposing waste. And they advise the government in Lagos State, if you see the way Lagos State is taking care of waste, now it's different from before. And you know that Lagos State is making billions of naira. And that was what made them to start LOMA. LOMA, Lagos State Waste Management Authority. They are making hell of money from waste. Some people came up with that idea and they sold it to the government. Then they started making a lot of money. So you find out that you can solve practical societal problems by sitting down, because research will engage you in deep thinking, problem solving thinking. Now, during our retreat this year, I was talking about different kinds of thinking. So those thinking are meant for you to do research, reflective thinking, and all kinds of thinking like that. So we can, with research, we can innovate. We can innovate, innovation. With research, we can provide informed policy decisions. We can guide decision makers with research, because you have found out some things, you have validated it, you are sure of it, there are evidences, and you are presenting it to policymakers, and you are showing the policy implication and interpretation and evaluation. So, and then it can also inform the way people should do business, the strategies, inform policy decisions. Today, people are making decisions without any valid theory that is backing it. So, but when there is research that brings about evidence-based results, people will come out with something that can guide policy, and the government can be guided on what to do. And do you know that sometimes if you carry out some research, it can reduce the costs of the money you're supposed to spend? You want to deploy immunization to a place, and government have been doing that for several years, there's no result. And you came out with a result, with an approach whereby the government can do it, and develop the model. You also tell them the cost effectiveness ratio and cost benefit analysis, and then you show them that if you go this route, this amount you are going to spend. If you go this route, based on your scenario analysis, this amount you are going to spend. You gave them the options, and then they made a decision based on what you have told them. You know what you have done is saving the country from a lot of waste. So in essence, research is a powerful tool for learning. You want to learn, and you keep learning. The way to do it by research. Research. What research is from the word search, and repeated. RE means repeated searching. Right? Discovery. For discovery, you want to discover new things. So, and then applicable to a wide range of fields and purposes. It's applicable to a wide range of fields. So there is no field in this world that you cannot do research. No field. So doing good research, you need to define your research question. Doing good research involves defining your research question. Now, clearly state the problem or question you wish to investigate based on the gap in knowledge. So now, how the question comes? The question comes as a result of the gap in knowledge you have discovered. Now, the gap in knowledge may also come from like just an idea that flows into your mind. But you need to find out whether that idea has not been done or not by checking literatures. You may not have read anything, but something came to your mind. Before you can venture into that field, you need to search literatures to know whether it's a gap or it's not a gap. Now, because something that comes to your mind might have been done. So it's when you read literature that you will find out whether it has been done or it has not been done. So you will also discover the gaps in the literature, much more than the idea you even have. By the time you read the literatures, the content of information you are going to have will be more by the time you check the literatures. So, and then you investigate on that gap in knowledge you have discovered. It's from there you can state problems or questions. So this one is now a kind of research question. So I'm talking of research question now. Then there are also policy questions. Now, policy questions are questions maybe that the policy makers want you to answer for them. They don't know what to do about deployment of a particular intervention, and they want you to provide. You are not updating yourself. You are not progressive in literature. You must be progressive in literature, so that by the time you are finishing your PhD, now before you started, there was a base paper you used. Maybe the paper was in 2018, and then when you were finishing, maybe you finished 2027. You couldn't find paper of 2026, paper of 2025 in your work. And you say, but I started this work in 2018 now. It doesn't mean you have to keep doing what? Being progressive in terms of your literature. Even if you started the work 2 years ago, are there some existing work that people have done around that area that you can cite why you are going to defend your thesis? So develop a research design that is provide the methodology and approach for collecting and analyzing data. Now, how do you want to, if you are using secondary data, tell us what kind of data you have gotten. Is it a demographic data? Is it a case notification data? Is it an outbreak data? Is it serological data? Is it demographic data? What kind of data do you have? Give us the story. Let's understand what you want to do. And are you planning to analyze them? What method are you planning to use in analyzing those data? Can you also show us the basic things you have done on the data to see how the data look like? So, data collection. Gather data relevant to your research aim. Now, data can also be collected from literature, scientific publication. You can gather so many publications together and bring out data from them. So gather data relevant to your research aim and question through experiments and surveys, interviews, or any other method. Then data analysis. Examine and interpret the collected data to identify patterns, trends, and gain further insights. So in your data, after your data collection, even if it's secondary data, you should do analysis. Starting from the descriptive, identify the patterns, the trends, and gain further insights. And then draw conclusions. Draw meaningful and significant conclusions based on the analysis and make recommendations. Now, between these and these, there are many things depending on what you are doing. If you are doing modeling, you will not stop here. You have to engage in other kind of model development, model fitting, model validation. Then, if you are going the route of quantitative approach, you need to carry out some scenario formulation. And then under the scenario formulation, I think I'll be talking about that on Friday. Under that, you have scenario analysis, and then you look at various kind of assumption even under that, under the scenario analysis. So we also have the proper citation, cite properly, and evaluate your cites sources. Evaluate them. Are they genuine or valid sites, sources? So you have to check. Now, time management and support. Be mindful of time. Every research should be time bound. Seek external support like editing of your write-ups. Now you cannot, like for some of us now, we have few months. You can't do your research for life. You are doing masters, PhD, it's time bound. You can't say, oh, I'm still working 10 years, 15 years. I'm still doing my PhD. When are you going to finish? So communicate your findings. Or even if it's not PhD, you are doing a research. You are a professor, you are a lecturer, you are a doctor. You set time for your research. Okay, this aspect now, I think is enough. I can publish it, although I will still continue. Let me publish these findings. And then continue going on. So communicate your findings. Present the research findings. What are those platforms? Through reports. You can write policy reports. You can write some editorials. You can put up some things about what you have done. Or periodics. Or periodicals. Or papers. Like, if you don't publish it, you have not done it. Anything, say, oh, I'm doing research, I'm a researcher. You are a researcher, you are not publishing. Nobody knows what you are doing. So, then presentations. So, you must make use of all the available platform for communication. You must present. And in presentations, what are the platforms? This is a platform like this. This is one of them. In a group like this, you can present. You can present in the same in a conference. You can present in a workshop, both locally or internationally. Now, this is the process, how it goes. Now you start from the overall aim. What's the aim? After you have read the literature, you have went through different stuff. Overall aim. Your research must have an overall aim. There must also be the project aim. So the project aim is the answer to the overall aim. And then the research questions are the answer to the project aim. And under the research question, you can see we have what, where, when, who, why, how. These are questions. How, where, what, where, who, when. Objectives, measure, text, detect, develop, validate. Then, so the answer to objectives are your questions. So I have 5 objectives, 5 research questions, it must be 5 objectives. And then each of the objectives must have methodology that you are using to answer them. So under the methodology, depending on the area you are, for us, it's either quantitative or qualitative. But in other places, you can use a mixed method if it's a clinical work or random control trials, lab techniques, and all that. RCT. So there are different methodology that you can look at, but you will find out that each of them there is a response. For this is this, for this is this, for this is this, and like that. Those are. Preparing an article for a research journal, the fundamental principle of preparing an excellent research publication remains the same. Even if you are a researcher in the natural sciences, physical sciences, social sciences, humanities, arts, etc. So the way you conceptualize your research idea at the start of your research endeavor matters most than the way you write the research article. The way you conceptualize, that means you are bringing your idea together. How you arrange your idea at the beginning is very, very important. At the start of your research endeavor matters most than even the write-up, because that is where you guide, and that's why we need concept notes, we need proposal at the beginning that will guide you on how you are going to write. That's why we say give us a concept or give us a proposal. Now that's why people who want to give you grants, they want to see that. They first want to see, let's even size that idea that it's coming with. Let's size it. Whether it is worth putting our money on. Now, most research journals fall into 2 categories. Listen. There are those who accept articles reporting original research article only, or publishing reviews with a relatively narrow disciplinary focus. And there are those with a more multidisciplinary character. So you must check what are the aim of this journal I want to send my paper to. What are the scope? What kind of things do they publish? Don't just say, I want to publish in this journal. You don't know their scope, their aim, or the kind of thing they publish. And then you send your paper there, you didn't hear any response. Anyway, after some few months, when you are supposed to send to the right journal, and maybe they will have even published the paper, they are telling you that we are very sorry, you don't publish this kind of thing. So before you send your paper, then they also have a writing style. Every journal has its own writing style, the way the content and everything will look like. So the first thing you do is to go check and confirm how did they publish what they publish, what kind of thing did they accept. Now each research journal has its own unique features, and they are discovered by consulting recent issues. So you look at what are the papers they have published, take them, open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those papers, and their respective instructions to authors. Those of monetary nature are likely to accept the greatest range of contributions, like +1, plus journals. Sometimes they accept different kinds of contribution, ranging from applications in health sciences, or they will tell you what they accept, and then you go for it. General articles, 3,000 to 5,000 words. Those are some of the examples. May be expected to review new development in one field that will be of interest to readers in other fields. These are short stuff. And then research articles up to 5,000 words are expected to contain information describing an important discovery or even a minor discovery in a specialized field. So now, then we have letters. Some journals such as Science refer to this as reports. Others refer to them as communications. They are like up to 2,500 words. They contain important research results. Sometimes preliminary that are of narrower focus than full articles. So these are letters. And then some journals provide a platform for contributions to present an in-depth discussion of policy issues relevant to science and or society. In addition, these periodicals may be interested in analysis of recent advances in fast-breaking fields and on the impact this development may have on future research on society. And then we have letters to editor. A published paper can produce correspondence through the editor of the journal in which it appears, which itself is published. So you can put up a letter maybe on a particular topic to an editor on modeling, and then you just want to share an idea. If it's something that is publishable, they will put it as letters. And then the process of choosing papers for publication, editors of monetary journals give preference to those of novelty. Novelty. There are new things in your work. Your work can easily be accepted faster than if it is just repeating the same process. Some of us repeat the same process, right? I remember when we were sending Ronke's work then, we sent it to one journal, they didn't accept. Because we found out that some of the things we put there are things that are common to some of the papers. But we sat down, we put some new ideas, some new theorems, and then we sent it this time around. It was accepted and published. So if you don't, so your paper is likely to be published earlier and faster if there are new things you have put in your work. And general significance that are well written, well organized, and intelligible to readers in different disciplines. More importantly, editors are looking for good research and science to publish in their journals. So you need to stay true to do good work. Now, the scientific research paper is a fundamental means, primary means, which you can use to communicate your research results with your professional colleagues. Like I said, if you say you do it, you must publish it. You have not done it until it has been what? Published. So your professional colleagues, people in your area, why do you think that, I was just thinking on Monday or recently, they are contacting us to come and collaborate with them. I have seen the papers, the student to come and do a project here for 4 months, and they are funding the student on mathematical epidemiology. I already sent the topic for the student. Ames Cameroon, they are sending 5 students here on the same mathematical epidemiology. Now, the question I asked is that, are there no other countries there? They have seen something. So why are we saying that? The reason is because, like, your research will show you, don't need, even if you are hiding in the the remotest part of the world, it's like a light. It will beam on you and they will come and pick you. Are you getting me now? Let me tell you, where Dangote cannot step, if you are doing good research, you enter the place. Where Otetola cannot go, you go. There are certain places they cannot go. They can't breed them because they are not scientists. But you know, like many of us are not ready to go through the rigor, to sit down and let your buttocks be hot. So you want peanuts, you want ice cream, right? So once you get ice cream, everything froze, and then that's all. So the Council of Biology Editors in the USA provides the following definition: the first scientific document must be able to help us to assess observations, repeat experiment. Any work you are doing that is not reproducible, there's a question mark. And evaluate intellectual process. So now it must remain permanent, available. Every work you have done now remain permanent for life. Even when you are grown old and die, you want to remain there. Look at, I was reading the works of Ross, the father of modern mathematical epidemiology, done in the 18th century. You are still using them today. The guy is gone, but he's a living legend. Look at what research can do. Let me tell you, some of the richest men in the world, we can no longer remember them. But scientists, if you publish a work and you do it well, and people are using it. Recently, there was a man, a Nigerian guy who became a professor. I've forgotten if I remember the name of the man. A white guy was recently making a documentary about him. Tenku from UNILAG, University of Lagos. He made a documentary on the guy. The man is late, but they used his work. Some of his he was saying that I think his supervisor and then himself have used the guy's work. They have referenced it, they have cited the work many times and all of that. And they were giving story, the documentary of the guy. Why? Men, other people who have come to this world, people in Nigeria who had money, who had cars, nobody remember them. But you know, the work you have done as a scientist research is there for life. It's permanent. It's permanent. Anytime people open the internet, they will see your work. That's a great part of it. So, and open for review by one or more of the major recognizing abstracting and indexing services. So then it can be indexed in some of these like Scopus, like Massinex, like other indexing services that we have in the world. Or what do they call them? SCI, all that, Science Citation Index. Now, the content of a journal, of a scientific article, should be novel. Should be novel, should be new, true, be true, should be important, should be comprehensible, should be open, transparent. By contrast, it is observed that most scientific research findings are buried in meeting reports. If you don't publish them, nobody knows what you have done. Accounts of obscure conferences, government publications, theses and dissertations, books or journals of very limited circulation. They are buried there. I have collected money because I did the research. Yes, I did the work, and then the paper was rated the best paper of the year, and I collected money from Swiss. They sent the money to my account. So you can, when we were doing the work, I was not thinking about money. I just wanted to do something. But eventually, I got money. So you can, a lot of things can come up. Sometimes, I've gotten invitations. Some I need to turn them down because I don't have time. Recently, there were some meeting I was supposed to attend outside. Turn them down. But there are some that will come. Okay. That they will tell you that we are going to pay your ticket, give you accommodation, give you this, give you that. Yes. And when you get to the airport, they will come and pick you because you do research. Imagine from one local place, FUOYE. We say, we have found one researcher is doing something on measles or CSM. Then he did a very good work. Can you come and present that work? And they will call you, this, that. I told you of a man who did the work and WHO called him. You need the rest of the story. He became a world-renowned biologist today. There's somebody. So young people here, some of you are running helter-skelter, running from one pillar to another. Sit down and do quality research, quality work. You will have done yourself a lot of good before you know it, because it will place you on the world map, and not only that, it will give your family a good name. And articles typical components in order are abstracts. Of people who are going to be writing papers. Abstract, introduction, materials and methods, results and discussion. And then conclusion. Now, no matter the field of studies, this is my last slide for today. We'll continue from here. The field of studies or the subject and operational means to proceed with writing of an article for a journal is to answer these 4 questions in order. Number 1, what was the problem? Challenge. Your answer is introduction. What was the problem? What was the challenge? Your answer is what? Introduction. So your introduction, the content of your introduction should actually introduce, give background information, and then tell us what the problem is. If you are not working on treatment, why should you be talking about, if you are working on treatment, why should you be talking about vaccination? When you have a lot to talk about treatment. If you ever mention vaccination at all, it should be under different interventions generally. And it's currently being used. Maybe just on one paragraph or stanza, sentence. Now, how did you study the problem? How? How? Your answer is the materials and methods section. Now, what did you find? Your answer is what? Results. Now, what do these findings mean? Now, what did you find is not discussion. Discussion is not results. Some of you put discussion as results. So you are discussing under discussion or results. It's wrong. What do these findings mean? Your answer is discussion. So under discussion, what do you do? Discuss. And how do you discuss? You discuss by relating your work with existing work. What has other groups done that they have done that you are comparing